Shri Guru Charitra, Chapter 43, Ananta Padmanabha Vrata Mahima. This chapter describes the Ananta Padmanabha Vrata Mahima and the story of Kaundinya Rishi, who through the grace of Lord Ananta earned an eternal abode in the realm of the stars in the heavens. Gurunath asked Sayamdev that he should also perform Ananta Padmanabha Vrata, especially because he too belonged to the Kaundinyasa Gotra. Namdharak was highly excited with joy and enthusiasm listening to the close association of his ancestor Sayamdev with Gurunath. He was all eager to know more and more details of their association. He pressed Siddhamuni to continue the narration. Sri Narasimha Saraswati's narration to Sayamdev regarding Ananta Padmanabha Vrata was recounted in this chapter by Siddhamuni. Yudhishthira was one of those who performed this Vrata as advised by Lord Krishna. This is how it happened. The evil Duryodhana induced Yudhishthira to play the game of dice, and in that, through deceit and foul play, he defeated Yudhishthira. The bet in the game was that whoever lost the game was to go into exile for 12 years, and in the 13th year they should live incognito. In case they were found in the 13th year, the cycle of exile would start all over again. Because of the defeat in the game, the Pandava princes had to forsake their throne and had to go into exile along with their queen Draupadi. They were put to many hardships. The evil Duryodhana was not letting them live in peace even in the forest. Yudhishthira's adherence to Dharma and his pledge to honor the commitments of the bet made him bear it all. Although he and his brothers could crush Duryodhana and all his people in physical combat, they were restraining themselves so as to not bring a blemish on their vow of dharma and adherence to truth. While the Pandavas were in great despair as to how they could get over the difficulties without violating in the least even a single rule of dharma and vow of truth on their part, they saw to their great delight that Lord Krishna had come to visit them. The Pandavas ran forward and fell at the Lord's feet. They worshipped him with great devotion. Yudhishthira then told the Lord that the thought of Krishna and constant remembrance of him alone was their sustenance and sole strength in being able to withstand all the ordeals that they were passing through. He, however, prayed that the Lord should advise them as to how they would be able to pass through the exile safely and would be able to recover their kingdom, which they had been deceitfully deprived of by their cousins. Lord Krishna told them that they should do Ananta Padmanabha Vrata, which could earn them great merit and would be a great protection to them always and would certainly help them to pass through all the ordeals unscathed, triumph over the Kauravas eventually and win back their kingdom. Ananta Padmanabha, the lotus-naveled Lord of Eternity, was indeed Lord Krishna himself. This Vrata was to be done on Chaturdashi day of Shukla Paksha during the Bhadrapad month. Lord Krishna further said that this Vrata was to be done in olden times by Kaundinya at the instance of his wife Sushila and Lord Ananta himself, and he thereafter explained how Kaundinya started performing the Vrata. Sushila was a daughter of a Brahmin by the name Sumanta. Sushila's mother was Diksha, the daughter of Bhrigu. Diksha passed away when Sushila was still a child. Sushila, though a child, used to manage the household very well, also while attending upon her father. Sumanta married again. The second wife's name was Karkashi. She was a very hot-tempered person and was always quarreling with her husband. She was not disposed kindly towards Sushila either. Sumanta was anxious and desirous of getting his daughter married off soon. One day, Kaundinya happened to come to their house. Sumanta offered his daughter in marriage to Kaundinya, to which the latter consented. Sushila's marriage was thus performed with Kaundinya. Kaundinya stayed for some days in Sumanta's house after the marriage. Finally, on an auspicious day, Kaundinya along with his bride set out on their journey back home. All that Sumanta could give his daughter was a little quantity of millet flour packed in a piece of cloth at the time of her departure, and even that too much against the will of his wife. By midday, they reached a river. They took a break here so that Kaundinya could perform his midday oblations. Sushila was very much charmed by the sylvan surroundings and was enchanted by the beauty of the forest and the river. While she was looking around, drinking in the beauty of Mother Nature, she was at a little distance from a group of women engaged in some religious ceremony. She went to them and inquired about the ceremony which they were performing with such great devotion. The women told her that they were doing Ananta Padmanabha Chaturdashi Vrata, which earns great merit for the performer. They said that the fruits of the Vrata were also Ananta, and that the Vrata fulfills all human desires and ferries the person safely across all tribulations of life. They told her that she too could join the Vrata along with them. Sushila also then performed the Vrata most meticulously and devoutly, observing all the instructions laid down for the Vrata as told her by the women. She used the millet flour given to her by her father for the Vrata and offered it to the Brahmin priests who conducted the puja. After the puja was over, wearing the red 14-knotted sacramental thread and taking leave of the woman, she came back to join her husband. They then resumed their journey. They reached a town called Amaravati. At the very outskirts of the town itself, the townspeople greeted and welcomed them. In one voice they said, "You are the most learned and holy person. You are a great tapasvi, as we can see the yogic splendor and radiance in your face. You must stay in our town only. We would not let you leave from here." They led Kaundinya and his wife to a spacious house in the town and made them stay there. Kaundinya was honored and respected very much by the town people. He became very prosperous. His house was ever aplenty with wealth, paddy, cattle, etc. One day, Kaundinya happened to see the red sacramental thread on the wrist of his wife and asked her what it was. He thought it was a charm she was wearing to entice and enslave him. She told him that it was a sacramental thread of the Ananta Vrata, which she performed regularly. "It was all due to Lord Ananta's grace only that we are so prosperous," she said. Kaundinya became furious. "It's all nonsense what you say. All this wealth and prosperity is a result of my greatness alone." Saying thus, he tore the thread from her wrist and flung it into the fire without listening at all to the pleadings of his wife. No sooner did he do this than misfortune befell Kaundinya. All the people turned away from him. He lost his wealth, his house caught fire, he became penniless and shelterless. He realized that all this catastrophic turn of events in his life was due to nothing else but the blasphemy and sin he had committed against Lord Ananta. He was in great remorse. He started crying out to Ananta for forgiving him. He vowed he would not touch food unless Ananta forgave him and blessed him with darshan. He set out frantically searching for Ananta everywhere, crying, "Oh Ananta, oh Ananta." He went on roaming from place to place. "I will end my life if you will not give me your darshan," he was wailing. As he was wandering thus, he came across a tree richly laden with fruits. But there was not a bird to be seen on the tree, even though the tree was overladen with luscious-looking fruits. Kaundinya plaintively asked the tree whether she had seen Ananta and whether she could tell him where to find him. The tree answered in the negative. After proceeding further in his search, he came across a cow and a calf. The cow was not able to graze due to its blistered tongue. Kaundinya asked the cow whether she had seen Ananta and whether she could tell where he could find him. The cow nodded a negative reply. Kaundinya went searching further and he came across a bullock. He put to the bullock also the same question which he had asked the tree and the cow earlier. The bullock also nodded a negative reply. Kaundinya then came across two adjoining lakes full of lotus flowers. He put to the lakes too his question whether they had seen Ananta, and the reply was again in the negative. Thereafter he came across an ass and an elephant. There was no affirmative response from them either. Kaundinya was in great desperation. He was terribly exhausted and fell down. His life breath seemed to be ebbing out. He was still frantically crying out in a choking voice, his heart bursting out with great anguish for Lord Ananta's darshan. At that critical moment, one old man appeared, Lord Ananta himself, in an assumed form. The old man asked him what his anguish was all about. Kaundinya cried out his request to him, also whether he could take him and get him Lord Ananta's darshan. The old man asked Kaundinya to accompany him, giving him a helping hand to walk along. There appeared a gorgeous and splendorous city. As they entered it, they saw a golden throne studded with diamonds and Lord Ananta seated on it. Oh, the vision dazzled him. His heart leapt up in joy inexpressible. He fell prostrate at Lord Ananta's feet. He sang praises and adoration of the Lord. He said, "O Ananta, O Lord, resting on the serpent couch, my life has found its fulfillment today. Forgive all my sins and lapses. You have graced me with your glorious vision. O the creator of this Brahmanda, O Ananta, O the infinite ocean of mercy, please never forsake me. Ananta was pleased with Kaundanya's outpouring adulation. Kaundanya asked the Lord that he was intrigued about the tree laden with fruits but without a bird around, about the cow that was unable to graze, and also about the other things he had sighted on the way. The Lord said to Kaundanya thus: the tree laden with fruits but without a single bird around was a very learned Brahmin in his previous life, who always wanted to keep the knowledge to himself and never taught anyone. A lamp should light up other lamps. A person of knowledge will have to impart the knowledge to others. Then only the knowledge finds its fulfillment. As this Brahmin was miserly with his knowledge in his former life, he was born in this life as a tree. You see that the tree is burdened with fruits, but not a bird coming near it. As to the cow, in its former life it was a human being. That man gave a piece of land in gift to a Brahmin, but that piece of land was barren and uncultivable. That was why, in this life, the cow was unable to graze and satiate its hunger, nor that of its calf. As to the bull in its previous birth, it was a rich Brahmin. Though rich, he never gave even a pie in charity to the poor and the needy. As to the lakes, they were in their previous life sisters. When it came about that they had to do some dhan, charity, in a religious ceremony, they did it, but each sister gave her charity to the other sister only, instead of some other poor and merited person. As to the ass and the elephant, they were your own anger and your passion. The old Brahmin who brought you to my presence was none else but I myself. I was moved to pity by your desperation. I bless you. You will have all wealth and prosperity. Your name and fame will forever remain. You should do this vrata for 14 years on every Bhadrapada Shuddha Chaturdashi day. After this life for you, I will provide an eternal abode in the Nakshatra Mandala in the starry skies. Kaundanya then returned and joined his wife. They enjoyed all prosperity and were forever happy. Lord Krishna further said to Yudhishthira, Agastya Rishi performed this vrata and earned an eternal name and fame. Kings like Sagara, Dilipa, Bharata, Harishchandra, Janaka, etc., all of them used to perform this vrata. Yudhishthira performed this vrata and as a result was able to win victory in the Kurukshetra war and regain his kingdom. You also do this and all your woes will end forever. Gurunath also explained to Sayamdev the Ananta Padmanabha Vrata Mahima and also about the detailed mode of the vrata, how it is to be performed, etc. He told him that he, being in the lineage of Kaundanya, as he belonged to the Kaundanyasa Gotra, must necessarily perform this vrata. Sayamdev performed the vrata as instructed by Gurunath. Sayamdev thereafter remained with Gurunath, serving him with the greatest devotion and dedication. Namdharak was thrilled with joy and elation listening to the account given by Siddhamuni relating to his beloved ancestor Sayamdev and also that he belonged to the lineage of the great Kaundanya Rishi. Thus ends the 43rd chapter of Sri Guru Charitra describing the Ananta Padmanabha Vrata Mahima. Glory to the all-merciful, the omnipresent and the ever-responsive Gurunath.